Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast with a new take on running, fitness, and all things health-oriented. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I present a new topic that is of interest to all runners. Welcome to episode 338 of Martha Runs the World. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Psst, come here. I have a secret to share with you. Just a little closer. A little closer. That's it. Now, don't let this get around, but you don't have to race if you don't want to. I know, but it's true. If you don't want to race, if you just like to run for the mere sake of running, if the thought of racing makes you shake or gives your stomach a turn for the worse, you don't have to ever sign up for a race. 621 million people worldwide run. In the U.S., approximately 50 million people run. And the majority of those people who run don't ever race. Excuse me, there's just a little bit of croak left in my voice for my cold, so I'm almost over it. It's just a little bit left. If you're feeling the pressure to race, you can remind yourself that most runners don't race at all. 5K races are the most popular for runners, which comes as no surprise to any of us, right? Almost 9 million runners in the U.S. run a 5K annually. So out of 50 million people who run, 9 million of those run 5Ks. 2.1 million runners run half marathons, and 1.1 million run a marathon. So very few actually run races at all. I'm going to try to get through this. I am. I have a voice, but talking into a mic doesn't really help it very much. But I'm just on the last vestiges of this cold. It just in my sinuses, and then it's going to go away. I swear it's going to go away. If racing isn't any fun anymore, if you just, the thought of racing just doesn't interest you at all, take a break. You don't have to race. And if you've never raced and don't have any interest in racing, and you feel like you're an incomplete runner, you don't have to feel that way. It's fine to never race. If you feel tired or burn out from racing, take a break. Take an extended time out entirely from racing. Run purely for the pleasure of running. And I'm going to do that for a little while. Mostly, I have one race I'm going to do through November, and then I'm going to reevaluate things and see what's up ahead for next year. Ask yourself why you started running in the first place if you're burned out from racing. If you started to run only to lose weight, then try to remember that exact moment you started to love running. If you started running because for enjoyment, then try to find that enjoyment again, just from running. Think about that moment that you started loving running on your next run when you're not training for a race. It's all about recapturing the love for running that you once had. It's not about just going through the motions, training for yet another race and just putting yourself through the machine. Oh, okay, I finished a race. Now I have to train for another race. It's not a job. Unless you're a competitive elite athlete, this is not our job. Races are tiring, and to many of us, they're very stressful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with passing them up for a while. You may find that you don't miss racing at all, and you love the new kind of stress-free running. Who knows? Running without a race in the future is a new thing for me, too. Okay, full disclosure, I do have one race coming up in the future that I did talk about, but it's a turkey trot race on Thanksgiving. There's a 5 mile and a 3 mile. The 3 mile Pilgrim's Promenade is a run or a walk, and it's not timed. You don't get your picture taken. The 5 mile you do. You're supposed to run and you get your picture taken and you get timed. And that's the one I want to do. I want to do the 5 mile this year. I haven't done the 5 mile in a few years because I just haven't been able to run the whole way. And with my surgeries and stuff, I've been just too slow. And I really would like to run it this year. In past years, I just I just was too slow, and by the time I would finish, it would be way too long. So I figured, okay, is this is the year that I can do it. This is the year that I can strive for that. I have nothing else going on in the calendar. There's no stress towards it, so I can ease into doing 5 miles. I'm not going to be fast at all. There are very fast runners in this race, and I'm not going to be one of them, but that's okay. I don't have any stress about it. I just want to be able to finish it, around in an hour or so. That's fine. A little longer, that's fine too. I don't mind. So that's not much to ask, right? Aside from that race in November, I'm not doing any other racing before that. I want to be a better runner. I want to have better form. I want to have everything going well as a runner. I'm also losing weight. And I found that when you train for a big race, you cannot lose weight. It's impossible. You really have to focus on your training, and the more miles you add on, the hungrier you are. So the more calories you need to eat to train for that race. Someone asked me in Facebook, how do I lose weight while I train for a race? Well, you can't lose weight. That's the simple answer. You either train for your race and stay at the same weight you are, or you don't train for a race and you lose weight and then you start training for a race. You really can't do both because you're not doing yourself a favor training for a big race while you're cutting back on calories. That's not going to help you with your race. And that's really true. And unfortunately, people want to do it all at once. They don't like the answer. I don't think she liked the answer that I gave. So, yeah, she didn't say anything back to me, so I don't think that was a good thing. Or I don't think that was the answer that she wanted, but it's kind of true. Um, Also, I'm not doing any races because they're stressful and they also cost a lot of money, and I'm going to retire in a couple of years, but I need to save money. I can't travel, and I have to travel to trail races, and I don't want to do any in town except for the turkey trot. So we'll see about next year how I'm doing financially. I may do another one. I don't know. We'll see. I'm also not doing any concerts except for a couple I already paid for. So all my expenses have been shut down for a while unless they're necessary expenses, necessities. So we'll see how it goes. Life is like I need to save up for my retirement life, which I won't have any or much money coming in. So I have to be careful about what I'm spending now. I also apologize because they're doing construction work outside that I had no idea they were going to do this early in the morning. I don't think you can hear it, but if you can in the background a little bit, I do apologize profusely. My last reason for not doing races is they stopped being a lot of fun. They just started to being completely stressful for me. On the morning of Cool Moon, I actually went to the starting line with more dread than anything else. And I don't ever want to feel dread on a morning of a race. I felt dread before. I never feel as prepared as I want to be for a race. Something always comes up during my training for a race. I never get the training in that I want because something always comes up. And I don't know how other people do it when emergencies come up in race time. I don't know how they handle it or they work it in. I remember one year I was training for sim for California International Marathon, and my father passed away. So I had to go back east, and I did get some training runs in, but it was hard. It was really hard to get my training in when when I had to go to funerals and things like that, and my head wasn't in the right space, but I did get some training in, and I know I was undertrained, and things happen. I mean, I got IT band problems for when I did the San Francisco Marathon, so that was really hard. So it's just things come up when you're training, and it makes things so stressful for races. So I'm not sure how other people do it. But I want to just put a stop on it and not just jump into another race. And the sometimes I know in Facebook groups, people will say, "Well, how do you get over, the depression of disappointment of a race? Sign up for another race." No, that's not how you do it. That really isn't right, and you really shouldn't be doing that. Maybe take some time and figure out why the race was disappointing. Figure out what you did wrong first. I think one of the things that everyday runners do wrong, and elite runners don't do this, by the way, but one of the things everyday runners do wrong is they run big races way too often. I see these everyday runners running 100-mile races all the time. "Oh, I wanna do 100-mile races once a month." Well, okay, that's fine, but, if you can handle it and not burn yourself out or not get injured, that's okay if you wanna challenge yourself, but remember that that's a sure way of getting injured if you don't take care of yourself in the right way. Elites don't do that usually unless they're trying to set a record. They will do maybe 2 or 3 big races a year, and then that's it. The rest is training. But I see these regular runners will not only do too many big races too often, but they will jump to distances that they shouldn't do or aren't ready for. They'll go for from a half to 100K without realizing how difficult it is and how much of a challenge it sets out for them, instead of working their way up to understand the difficulty of each distance. Or they'll make their first trail race a 50-miler, instead of working it up, trying to trail race at a 10K and seeing what it's like, and then working your way up to it. They want to do everything right now, fast. I have to do everything fast, do everything right now. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Well, take your time. There's no rush for these things. You don't have to make everything right now. You don't have to get everything right now. The challenge of longer distances is that they take time. Training takes time. Understanding it takes time. Your body getting used to it takes time. So don't rush it. And if you take a little time off to appreciate your running and maybe the trail running, you can get your body used to it, and then you can go into it. And if you get a DNF, okay, if you get a DNF, um, w do you take time out to find out what you did wrong, or do you just jump into another race? Many runners just jump into another race. I know a lot of runners who have many, many DNFs, especially in 100-milers, and those are like $300+. So let's say you have 10 DNF 10 100-mile DNFs. That's $3,000 right there, and that doesn't include travel costs or anything else. Has that runner taken the time to figure out what each DNF was, and then taken time, a few weeks, sometimes months, to figure out what they did wrong and to correct that before they jumped into another race? Probably not. Usually not. Usually that's that's part of the problem. So take the time out to figure out what you did wrong so that the next race, you won't have that problem. Maybe you'll have another problem. It happens. It happens. Stuff happens in races. And once in a while, maybe it was just something that was off. Maybe the weather was really bad, or you're just getting off a cold and you aren't really ready for it, or some things happen. All sorts of things can go wrong, and that's a one-off. But if you're getting a bunch of DNFs, that says something about you. And maybe that says that you aren't ready to do a 100-miler. Maybe your body's telling you to, hey, knock this off. Go to a lesser mileage distance. Go to a 100K or a 50 miler or even a 50K. Your body's telling you that you probably shouldn't be doing 100 milers if you're getting a bunch of DNFs. That, to me, that's what it's telling you. Your body's trying to tell you something and you're not listening. There's a lot of things your body's trying to tell you. Your body is trying to tell you things that are going on, and you're just going, la 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 la, I'll just do another one, yeah da 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 da. And you got all these DNFs, and you're not paying any attention to it. Listen to your body. Listen to what's going on. And if you're getting all these DNFs in these races, then don't just sign up for another one. Figure out what's going on. Get a coach if you need to, and then correct the problem or problems, because there's probably more than one problem going on here. I think it's worth taking a breather and figuring out what's going wrong rather than jump headfirst into the next race. Of course, it's the runner's choice, and it is your wallet. I'm no nanny here, but that's just a suggestion. There's something to be said for not having the motivation to run when there's no race. And I get that. I completely understand it. There are other ways to gain motivation, though. Just being a better runner should be one. It should be motivation enough, one would think. You can set up a training plan to be a better runner, to correct your posture. Lord knows I need posture correction. My posture is terrible. You can set it up to be a faster runner, to be a better hill runner, if that's what you want, to be like I said, to have better posture. Try filming yourself or have a friend film you at the start of your own training program and then at the end of a few weeks to see if you improve. You can even hire a coach to help you, although hiring a running coach is expensive, and I'm not sure if you want to do that if you don't have a race coming up. I don't know. I can't afford that. But if you want to do that, that might help you. And then after you're all trained and everything, after you're all trained to be a better runner, then you can maybe find a race and then go for that distance and train for that race and see how much of a difference that makes you as a runner. That might be a good plan. You also might consider spending a little more time strength training to get your strength up a bit. If that's lacking, if all you've ever done is run, try hitting the gym or doing some strength training just using your body weight at home. You might try that. And for those of you who can't understand why some of us aren't that fond of racing, think of it this way. Many runners are more solitary types of people. I know a lot of runners love races because they get to socialize and see their friends. I mean, I like to see friends too. I mean, I love that, but I also get very tired of crowds, and being around people too much really tires me out. I'm an introvert at heart. Sometimes I can be an extrovert, but in my very soul, I'm an introvert. I find myself getting more stressed out around a big crowd. And as I get older, I want to be around big crowds less and less. I don't know. It's something about as we age, we just have less and less time for that kind of stuff. I think when we're young, we tolerate big crowds a lot better. It's one of the major reasons why I stopped doing road races is that they're just too big. I don't like being stuck in a corral with all these people or being on a road just surrounded by a big mob of people running or walking. It makes me claustrophobic. Just really does. These giant races, I can't imagine myself doing Beta Breakers again. And I used to do it every year in the 80s and early 90s. Every single year I did it. And I loved it too. It was so fun. But I did it last time I did it a few years ago, and it was just way too big and way too many people and way too claustrophobic and just, I did not like that. But anyway, it was a nice trip down memory lane at that time anyway. I do like the feeling of being by myself on a trail race. As long as I know I'm not lost and I see those little ribbons along the way, I'm good. during Cool Moon, the times that I did enjoy in that race, and you can check out my whole trip episode, my whole summary on the episode about my DNF at Cool Moon 50 a couple weeks ago. The best times I had were spent on those miles alone. When I was in the first part of the race is really pretty. We're on a really neat trail, and I saw a deer. I saw this big doe. She was beautiful. And that was a really neat part of the trail before it got into the hills and this really steep hill. Oh my God, it was so hard. And when I wasn't totally struggling, I had a really nice time on the trail. That was really neat. And I enjoyed that part very, very much. And it was really nice to just think of myself as being the only person out there on the trail. That was kind of cool. Because it doesn't even feel like a race. You just feel like you're just on the trail enjoying yourself. But even if you think to yourself that you will never give up racing, that racing will never not be a part of your life, they may get stale for you. So even if you're listening and you're saying, this is not going to ever be me, just keep it in the back of your mind so that maybe you'll get tired of racing, and maybe this will be something that you'll look at in the future if they get boring and you want to get the magic back in your running. Now races can be addictive. I did a whole episode on running as an addiction, but this is not really what I mean. I think we can get into the habit of racing every weekend, even smaller races, and we can run too hard during these races, and we can hurt ourselves or burn out on races or spend too much money on big races every single weekend. And it's fine if you're using these races as training runs for a bigger race, but you have to use them as training runs, not as races. And there's a difference. If you're out there running a half marathon every weekend and you're running really fast and trying to get PRs every weekend, that's not a training run. That's burning yourself out. That's doing races every weekend, and that's really hard on your body. If, however, you're doing those half marathons and you're going chill, you're just going out and going kind of slow as a training run, not speedy, not trying to get a PR, just going out at a nice, comfortable, slower, um, slower pace, then okay, that's a training run. See the difference? Yeah. So then that would be fine. But don't try to go out speedy and beat everybody on the course, because that's not going to help you for your longer race. You're going to not only burn yourself out, but you might injure yourself. And that's not a good thing, especially if you do that every week. And I do know runners who do that. Running can be done just for enjoyment. It doesn't have to be competitive. It's no reason to get that competitive streak going every single week on races. There's a huge difference between doing a neighborhood 5K every week and doing a half marathon every week. You can do a neighborhood 5K, but again, don't go out thinking that you're trying out for the Olympics in that 5K. Do a leisurely pace if you want, a little faster, maybe a tempo pace, but don't go out like you're going to beat everybody on the course. If you do them slower and do them as training runs, there's nothing really wrong with them, but sometimes that's really hard to hold yourself back at the start of the race, and then when you see everybody passing you up, you don't want to be the last one, you don't want to be slow, right? Your ego gets the best of you. So be careful with that, because that can work against you. And follow your own path on this. If you don't feel like racing, don't race. Don't let your friends talk you into something you don't want to do. I know it's hard. It's hard not to keep up with your friends. It's hard not to be out there with your friends doing these races. I know. I get caught up with my friends too. My friends are saying, especially a couple of my friends are saying, we're doing this race. I want to do it too. Yeah. I get caught up in that. But I can't do that now because I have to really watch what I spend. In a couple of years, I'm not going to be working full time. I'll probably work part time, but not full time. So I have to really, really be cautious about the money that I spend. And if you are tired of racing and you just don't want to go through the whole course, then take a month off or 2 months off or 3. It doesn't matter. See how you like doing it without races. That's all right. That's fine. More people don't race than do. Find your own enjoyment on the road or trail. Do your thing. Do some hiking. I don't know, do something different. Running is our happy place. Don't turn it into something you stop looking forward to, because that would be a shame. Am I running? Well, it hasn't been that great because of this silly cold, but I am feeling better. I'm feeling antsy today, so I'm going to go for a short run today and tomorrow, both, and see how that is. And I'm going to keep eating healthy, get back on track with my weight loss now that I'm feeling better. I didn't try to lose any weight when I had a cold because I just wanted to feed it and give it some nutrition and stuff. So I really wasn't watching calories or watching what I ate, really. But now I am. So I'm back in it and back from the dead, so to speak. And that is my story anyway. And that is it for today. Go to my website, martharunstheworld.com. If you want to email me, it's martharunstheworld@gmail.com. And everything is on the website for you. If you want to become a Patreon patron, that is there for you. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can do that as well. So until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.